welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts. You're catching me on my YouTube channel, True Divine 44. You can also get me on my Facebook page, True Divine, and it is The True Divine for both Instagram and Twitter. Like, share, subscribe, and comments on any or all of those platforms is greatly appreciated, and much thank yous and love to everybody who does that thus far. This is part of the free content that I put out on a daily basis to help support, guide and inspire. Because it is general, only take what resonates here. Don't twist any kind of reading with your mind. You can attract things in that you didn't necessarily need to attract in. Of course, if you find something positive in the reading, attract that in. But you know, use your own discernment with any reader, including me. So I work with energy, I work with tarot, I combine the two to bring you a daily energy tarot reading to give you a sense of what's happening energetically that day, the energies that you might feel within or that you might run into within others, and give you a better means to navigate those. So take what resonates, leave the rest behind. This is a daily energy reading for the 9th of August 2020. So the first card is the Six of Wands. And so this speaks of success. You know, she's using her equipment there to get some kind of success. He's obviously got some kind of bounty there. It's heavy. He's got that to take back to the community. It speaks of also about what kind of success are we looking for, because we're talking about changing pace here. We're talking about sending out the old guard and bringing in a reality that is much more true and less hijacked. So here they're living off the land, they're self-sustainable, and there's success within that. And so it's a different kind of success. Now this Queen of Swords comes in to clarify this card. So we've got intellect and a bit of a cutthroat energy, in that, not in a bad way, but she's intelligent. She is a compassionate people person to a point. And so there has to be results for the Queen of Swords to be involved in anything. So look at what is giving your life real results. What are you getting real results from? Where do you need to change it up to get more results that gratify you, that give you the Six of Wands victory? And so the Queen of Swords energy is useful for that, to be able to come in with real discernment and an energy of, well, is that really working, or is it just, you know, a pipe dream that you thought would work but isn't working? Or is it giving you enough dividends? Is it giving you enough success and victory to sustain you or your family? More importantly, right now, the time that we're in is to think differently about things and use your intelligence. Look at the situation we've been in for the last, 5-6 months, and see that actually giving over your power, giving over your wands, giving over your energy to and control to others, where you might gain your food from, where you might gain your what is perceived success from, the things that will nourish you and keep you going, keep you fired up energetically, spiritually and physically, then, you know, but they can hit the switch and all of that stops. So the Queen of Swords energy is coming in to try and give you that critical thinking of, you know, is this really sustainable, or is it just sustainable in a time for a time that others decided to be sustainable? If they press the button, are you prepared? Have you got something that is going to give you that victory, going to give you that success to sustain you and keep you and your family? So it's changing the way that we're looking at things, and moving away from things outside of self that seek to control whether we can sustain ourselves or have victory in our endeavors or not. And so the next card is this King of Pentacles. So we've got the divine feminine energy of the Queen of Swords, and we've got this King of Pentacles here. Now he's got 4 golden things here on his cushion, and so, but he's what's he doing here? I want to say that, you see, the King of Pentacles is that he's a balanced man. He's standing in a balanced position with his arms out balanced. He is in receiving. He's a thinking man. He has success in his own right, in the physical reality. You know, he knows how to strategize. He knows how to put things in the right place. But to clarify him, we've got this Six of Pentacles. And so this speaks of the generosity of this King of Pentacles, whether this represents you, somebody in your family, somebody you know. And you see the scales here in this Six of Pentacles card, they're balanced out. And so there's this generosity being shown to these people. It's important that we have the wisdom to know that we can't just expend energy or pentacles or anything without it being balanced. Because if we tip into imbalance in anything, then our perception or the actual thing that we're giving is going to be distorted. It's going to be distorted in that tipping point, wherever that tipping point might be. And it might lead that, you know, you're giving out of lack because you start giving out of your reservoir that should always stay full to keep these balanced scales balanced. Excess should be given, you know, in that, you know, you're not going to take away from your children's mouths to feed somebody else. So to balance it out, the wisdom is to know to give energy, give physical things, whatever it might be, to the right vessel, to the right person, to the right organization, to the right anything. Otherwise, the dividends that come back are going to be imbalanced. Either they're going to be in lack, or they're going to be even the gratitude scale. He's given of his pentacles, and the gratitude is coming back from these people. But if he was giving it to the wrong people, if he was giving it to the people who weren't in the right energy field, who weren't in a balance point as in receiving, then the energy that he's giving back, even in gratitude, is going to be from a place that isn't good, that isn't going to sustain him and keep his scales balanced. So there's wisdom here with this King of Pentacles to place out what you've got and know how you can help the collective or your family unit. And depending on how much you've got, you can extend that field further afield. But you have to always be this discerning character with the discernment of the Queen of Swords and the discernment of this and the practical nature of this King of Pentacles. You do have to think practically about where you're giving of yourself. Even if it is your physical means, where are you giving of yourself? And is it in from a balanced place? And is it received in a balanced place? Wherever you're giving into whatever vessel it is. So to be really discerning upon that. And the reason I hesitated a little bit on that, because there's a message here in that the next card is the Five of Cups. Now you see this man is passed out. He hasn't gone to sleep from a meditative place. He hasn't gone to sleep from a controlled place of knowing that his body needs to rest. He's gone at it for too long, to the point where he's passed out, to the point where one of his cups, one of his vessels is not just spilled, but it's broken. And so we see that his higher self, this spirit self that's looking over him, doesn't seem happy about the position that this human self is in, because it is a place of lack emotionally. So you can be giving of your physical means, but it isn't in the highest wisdom to give of your physical means to somebody who isn't receiving from a good balanced place. And so there's this little niggle here for this King of Pentacles, because again, this Five of Cups is clarified from another deck by the King of Pentacles. So where have you been giving of self or to others, especially in your physical material means, to a place that isn't balanced? Now, for a lot of people who are struggling with alcohol addiction in particular, or any addiction obviously has gone into an unbalanced place. And so anybody that is dealing personally with any kind of addiction, but in particular today, this alcohol addiction, even if you've put it behind you, but because of circumstances, maybe because you're not in a balanced place, you're a bit stressed out about certain things, especially emotionally. There's this risk factor that you have already, or you feel like you're getting into that place that puts you into that addiction mode of drinking too much, because there's some kind of leak here in your life. There's somewhere that you need to look at of where you are leaking of self, particularly physical means. Have you already dipped into that imbalanced place where you've gone back to drinking, or you've started drinking too much and you are spending too much to gain alcohol? You're purchasing too much alcohol. It's taken you into an imbalanced place physically, because you are giving of your material means to something that puts you in a real imbalance emotionally, and things become broken. Things become unbalanced. That cup has been unbalanced. It's been tipped over into a tipping point that is not healthy, where this guy isn't in no place to connect with his true self, his true essence, his higher self, for the way that he's passed out. There's no connection here between the two. It's an impossible, he's just not receiving. He's not able to receive, because he's not in a balanced place. He's in a passed out place. And so much so, he's tipped it that he's broken. He's broken somewhere. There's an emotional break somewhere. So it really does speak of, especially those who are practically natured, but have suffered with addiction either in the past, or that it's coming back. You feel it creeping back, to not just look at the addiction. Look at where this emotional imbalance is, where this emotional leak is, that would place you in a position of expending too much to gain something that is going to tip you into a place that is not safe. And so whatever this emotional imbalance is, you need to do quite a bit of inner work, if this resonates with you, to get right down into the nitty-gritty as to where this started. Why did you start masking this emotional break, this emotional leak, with something, with a substance, with especially alcohol, and find out where that got in, because this is where, there's this tightrope of success in your material world, but this tightrope that you're feeling that maybe nobody else is seeing or noticing yet, because you are very practically natured, very self-sustainable. But there's this worry, there's this tipping point underneath the surface that you're covering up. If you are facing that, do not be afraid to drill down. Do not be afraid of your own emotions. You can be in control of them instead of them being in control of you. You can be in control of the past, the present and the future, all being happening at the same time anyway. Because I could take you, for instance, back to the womb, back to your conception of you entering into this physical reality that we're in, and build up from there to find where this leak got in. And that you can as you, and of course you in that point would be your future self, speaking to your so-called past self as a baby, to find out and guide yourself as to where that got in, and as an adult being able to be there for you, that child, that baby in you, or that whatever, that teenager, wherever it got in, to be able to say, okay then, so that wasn't mine to own. So that was me receiving something that was not mine, receiving something that was imbalanced, that then tipped me into a place of imbalance here. We can balance that out. So there's something that can be done. The past is not fixed. You can go back to your past. You can mold and manipulate the words that you say to your baby self, to your infant self, to your teenage self, junior self, teenage self, young adult self, whatever stage of life that you're in, and actually change your perception in the present, that by changing the outcome almost. What's coming to mind is Sometimes I'll have dreams that are absolute visions. I know they are, they're very different. I've deliberately guided my way into the dream world to do so, and I've known I've been doing that with intent. Hey baby. But then there are other times where I'm dreaming and the outside forces, maybe I've heard something, you know, in the house as I've been falling asleep, and it guides as to what I'll, you know, it has an effect on what I'll be dreaming of. So sometimes I'll have very bad dreams in that they worry me, or as particularly if they involve children, you know, I don't like them. But and if I wake up with a shock before I've managed to fix the problem of whatever is happening, I can't say too much, in that dream, yes, all messy. So the whatever I'm having in that dream, he dancer, then I'll deliberately try and go back to sleep to finish off the dream.
If you like to have a black candle and bag, if I just do this and then in 5 seconds I just break it.
Yeah, are you coming up?
And then you have to just like rattle around your shoe.
Yes, you do. Theodore's just woke up. So we have to, you know, I go back and I try and finish off the dream so that I can get on with my day without thinking about the outcome that I didn't manage to fix, as I say, particularly when it involves these guys. And so that is what I'm talking about in guided stuff that I would do, in that, and you can do that for yourself, I would guide, or you can do it back to whatever point in time and work from the very start within the womb so that nothing is missed out, to find out where that leak starts, so you can have control over your present self by having control over your past self and your future self. And that's how manifestation works also. It's a part of it anyway. So there's this feeling of tipping over and this feeling of being out of control, that is an illusion. And I know that's hard to hear when you're in that place, but it is an illusion. And I want to empower people and uplift people to know that they do have this control over what they are feeling. But it is difficult, of course, if you've already delved into the world of drinking either again or to start with, then, you know, it is difficult in that space of being under the influence. It's difficult to do this kind of things because, again, you are already inviting something from the outside that very quickly distorts and imbalances your perceptions of things, your beliefs of things, your understanding of things. So I would say that, you know, there needs to be initially, you know, you need to put a plug in that leak, particularly if it involves alcohol, in order to be able to do this work from the most balanced place possible. And so I really do feel that, you know, this, it might be as well that with the 2 King of Pentacles coming out here, it's a dominant energy. It might be that, you know, you have in your life somebody who is this King of Pentacles, who is very dependable, who is very, he strategizes, he's very self-sufficient, he's very balanced. It might be that you have this kind of figure in a father figure or an uncle or a friend who is trying to say to you the very words that I've been saying to you today. And it's sometimes harder to listen when you know somebody personally, or you know, sometimes you can get into that triggered space, that reactionary space. So hopefully I can open up your ears a little bit to this energy, if it is in your life, to the person who is trying to give you that nudge to say, you're tipping over. And you might not want to believe them, but it might be coming from my mouth too. It might have that impact to allow you to listen to this dependable energy in your life that is trying to say to you, you've got this success, you've got this enough that you're to be able to be giving of self, even if it is material, but there's this tipping point that I'm noticing, there's this imbalance that I'm noticing. You know, listen to that energy if you're lucky enough to have it in your life. because they do mean the good for you. It's not that they're being judgmental, it's just that they're observing something that isn't good for you and they care enough to say something. And so on the bottom of the deck, on the first cards, we've got the Four of Pentacles. So this speaks of, Four of Wands, sorry. So this speaks of the home. You see, they're under the archway. The dome, the arch being one of the strongest shapes, that the vines are able to grow on it. They are receiving the fruits of their labor. So there is this success here, but there's just this warning card, whether it resonates with you or whether it resonates with somebody in your group, that there's somebody that needs some kind of guidance to not be in this imbalance, that would have an effect on the success that is being felt right now. Now again, this is bringing things back to basics. Within their own home, they're doing what they can to grow their own sustainability, to grow their own fruits of their labor, so that they can absolutely rely upon self to sustain self and all that is within their household. They're working together, there's teamwork. So this speaks of family and maybe changing up the way that family thinks about things and how they work together and how they build something that is sustainable, and really changing our perception of what is success, what is material success. Material success, I mean, if it hasn't been proved, what's meant for harm we turn for good, if it hasn't been proved over these last 5 to 6 months that actually the success of having, I don't know, the best car on lease, or the best home with the best home improvements, or the best clothes, what have they meant over the past 5 to 6 months? People haven't been worrying about what label they're wearing. They've been worrying about the fact as to whether they can get food. People actually got to the point of imbalance where they literally worried about toilet roll and stockpiled on toilet roll. Again, that is something from the outside influencing that. With all the propaganda, they knew what they were doing, and those big corporations that were making the toilet roll were clapping their hands because they made a huge profit in a time where everybody else is being told there's no money. Every time everyone else is being told to worry, be careful, something bad, there's lack. Yet the people on the frequency that are controlling it from their within, no matter how low frequency that is, they're controlling it from their within and putting it out there. For the people who are just sucking that up because they're not working from their within and putting their within out there, then they are the ones that are making these globalists trillions in profit over this last 5 to 6 months. So it's really asking us to really flip and change our perception of our divinity and our sovereignty. You might say, I'm divine and I'm sovereign. Well, where are you divine and sovereign? Be the truth seeker to yourself about it with this Queen of Wands. Be the Gemini. Question yourself. Be the twins within yourself, and fire these questions back and forth to really drill down as to what you can really do to walk with your wallet, what you can really do to make a stand without even shouting it out, just by not having to buy fruit and veg from the shop. Going to local allotments and offering to buy some off a local allotment keeper if you don't have a garden. Things like that. Intelligence and strategy, thinking in a different way, to really balance out these scales of giving and taking. What are you giving to? Where are you taking from? Really start to open up and expand that discernment that you have within. So the next deck is here with this Two of Wands. And so speaking of, different horizons, he's got the world in his hands. But does he realize it? Do you realize it? That through your decision making, through where you choose to put your material, your physical, where you choose to put your spiritual, where you choose to receive from, whether it's messages, whether it's subliminal messages through the propaganda, but this guy knows that he has the world in his hands here. And, all of a sudden it becomes very small. So he's building something, I feel, today that is something for his family. Now people might some say that would be a selfish concept. No, it's not, because then that's yet another family, even if it's just in one or two ways, that are really being discerning about where they're putting their material goods, their money, where they're buying their stuff from, and how much of that stuff are they having to buy. A lot less if they're thinking the way this reading is directing us to think. So it's a really interesting day. It's a really if you choose to be on it, an exciting day now. But for the people who have tipped over, or who are struggling and trying not to tip over into this Five of Cups place, I understand that me saying it's an exciting day, it's a good day, you might think, you know, this reading's not for me, because you're in a place where you're distorted and you can't see the wood for the trees. I'm telling you that if you can either listen to this energy from within of this King of Pentacles and this Queen of Swords, or you can listen to the outside energies that you have around you within this King of Pentacles energy and Queen of Swords, it is a good day. It is a day where you are completely and totally capable of taking your power back on every level, of plugging all of those leaks wherever they are, whenever they came in. And so you have that ability, that power. You absolutely have the right and the sovereignty to do this. It might just take a little bit of digging deep, or it might just take a little bit of stepping your ego aside to be able to listen to these energies around you that are trying to tell you what they see. And so it is a good day for you too, if you choose it to be so. So that's the reading for the 9th of August 2020. If you would like any personal readings, any energy work, any spiritual guidance, you can get in touch with the details below. You can hit me up on Facebook, True Divine. Other than that, much love, be balanced and be whole always. Mwah.